you haven't missed a thing. Welcome for jumping in the podcasting class. Listen, we're going to talk about the podcasting game. Where I opened up was just a snippet of myself, Lisa Porto, an active real estate broker here. I'm a professional in California, and I'm a national public educator, and a whole bunch of cool things that you can learn more about. Some of you know me personally and professionally, so thank you and welcome for your support. What I want to focus on today is the educator part that I said I was a national public educator. That happened because of podcasting. My voice grew because of podcasting, because what I was passionate about. And so Ready, Set, Real Estate, the platform, the podcast, the Facebook Watch show, the YouTube show, all of that is in existence because my purpose was to empower our youth and young adult communities with real estate literacy. That's terms, concepts, and careers as an alternate pathway to success. And I thought to myself, how do I get more people to learn more about what I'm doing? How do I do that? And lo and behold, me scrolling through my timeline, I find an ad for Anchor.fm. So some of you already have your accounts. You may not have touched it. Today, I encourage you to really get in there, set it up, and just start podcasting. So for those of you who are new and have no concept about Anchor, you're going to see, I'm going to walk you through the setup, and you're going to make sure, I'm going to make sure you have the podcast sponsorship template. And as a bonus, I will give you my connect where you can earn up to $25,000 in sponsorship dollars. Okay, there's a very easy formula. It's all you've got to pitch. Tell them what your product is about, your service, who your target audience is, and send them how much is. Cool. Yay! So in three easy steps, we're going to learn how to set up our podcast. You need an email account, set up on Anchor.fm. And remember, let's have fun. Remember to have fun on your podcast unless you're doing something a little bit more serious. Definitely remember to have fun. And be transparent. Even as you're learning, your audience wants to hear your growth. Your audience wants to hear that you are learning. You're learning your way and you're saying, hey, look, I may not have it all figured out, but listen, this information I'm sharing, you've got to hear. You've got to tell other people. So don't feel like you've got to do this in a perfect way. And I think that's where sometimes people get stuck. Now, some people are asking, look, you may feel like, oh, well, everybody's doing the podcasting, right? Lisa says lost audio, but it's back. It's skipping. Anyone else having problems with the audio? Because then I might have to do something different. So just let me know if anyone else is having the audio. I'll also remember to speak slower because I tend to get excited about new content in new classes. Kevin says, I hear you fine. Okay, Lisa, maybe if, I don't know if it's on the computer or tablet or Android. Lisa says, high traffic issues with connectivity, probably. She says, no worries. Okay, cool. Well, thank you. Thank you. Kevin says he's good. All right, cool. Maven, thank you for jumping in. She was checking me both on tablet and on the computer, and she made sure. She's like, it wasn't me. So, okay, cool. Moving forward. You may ask, hey, there's tons of people already doing podcasts. Is there room for me? When's the best time to get in? Listen, the best time to get in is now, because this is $1 billion industry, not $1 million industry, not a thousandaire industry. This is $1 billion industry. Why? Because this is a new way of connecting and selling products and services to a specific audience, which is why when we talk about sponsorship, they want to ask who your target audience is, or they tell you straight out, hey, we are targeting, for me, I saw a great ad and I pitched to them. They said, we are targeting real estate industry professionals. We have an app, we want to sell them. We have an app, we want them to subscribe. So depending on what your niche is, if you're focusing on writers, authors, investors, those in the financial field, think about who your audience is, and that's who you're going to connect with. You know, those products and services that resonate with them. Okay, can't wait to tell you more about that. So listen, don't feel like there isn't room for you, because there's definitely room for you. So much so that now's the time. Why? Because It just got way easier to earn money from podcasting. That's the exciting thing, is about monetizing your voice. I say monetize your voice. It's your voice, your insights. So listen, this is how we know this has gotten real serious, is because Spotify bought over Anchor.fm, and you have Apple that is putting tons of money into podcast platforms, right? Into the talent. And so that's where we want to be. The beautiful thing is that now that Spotify owns Anchor, when we set up on Anchor in these very easy steps, you're immediately on Spotify. Could you imagine having that branding or that co-branding leverage with what you're doing? And you could just say, hey, you can find me on Spotify. Talk about really solidifying yourself as an authority, because your name, your brand becomes Googleable. Because here's the thing, Google likes fresh content. How do we put out fresh content? Easy, right here. So we're going to show you today how to set up your account and your podcast from your desktop. But literally, you can do it from the phone. Okay, Anchor.fm. I'm going to type that here in the comments below. You'll also see it on a screen as well. But Anchor.fm has an app. And when I'm not wanting to be too fancy on camera, or I want to turn my laptop on and get on the computer and put my headphones on, I record right from here. I add background music and I hit publish. Boom, it's done. And remember, your content can be as long or as short as you set it to be. Because regardless of whether it's 3 minutes or an entire hour show, you can still add sponsorship to it. That mini commercial, your own voice saying, hey, check this out, and you get paid from it. Gabish? Gabish. Moving on. I'm really excited about that. And Apple, we know that Apple's expanded, right? They've expanded, and that's what I was saying. So podcast is here to stay is what my point is. So for those of you who aren't familiar with podcast statistics, I want to encourage you. I'm going to share some numbers to encourage you that as of 2019, there were 29 million episodes in 100 languages. I've had students that were, they do speak English, but English is not their native language. I encourage them, keep your native language. If it's Italian, if it's French, if it's German, if it's Spanish, keep your native language, because you can connect with your audience. If that message will more resonate with your audience, again, it's you showing up authentically as you. And as you can see, there are 700,000 active podcasts. Now, here's why this is important in terms of how many podcasts, how many episodes and languages, is because the genres. Pay attention to the popular genres. These are the top 5. Society and culture is one. Business, comedy, news and politics, health. These are the top 5 most popular podcasting genres. So think about when you are creating your podcast, what genre do you fall in? Because it's going to ask you, what category are you in? Okay, what category? Now, here's where it gets important for those of us who are looking to sell products and services and monetize. Okay, because here we know we have access to the income of our podcast listeners. We have access to who and where are they listening to us from, and statistically, how much money do they earn, right? So these are the people such as yourself. These are people who are doing the professional development, the personal improvement. These are people who are investing in themselves, and they're learning, they're studying, they're listening, the quality information. Again, we talk about what you put into your mind. What is that mental diet? What is your mental diet? Here we have that 32% of podcast listeners have an income of $75,000 or more. That's annual income. 37% have a income of $100,000 or more. And get this, 45% of podcast listeners have an annual income of $250,000 or more. Now, this was, of course, the data of last year. that definitely will shift and change given our current conditions, which is why it's that more important for you to be an authority to help these people. These people, these individuals are looking for alternative ways of monetizing their gifts, their talents, and their services as well. So, albeit you are promoting your own services on your podcast, or you're cross collaborating with other individuals that can offer value to your listeners, and that's how you can boost your podcast numbers as well. I'm going to give you tons of tips and gems, and feel free to stop me, slow me down. But here, this number, this data is important for us, especially as we're thinking in our own industries. For me, I know where I'm in California, I need to be able to have a client that actually makes at least 100,000 combined income or household income to qualify for the median medium home price in my area. Typically is what I'm looking for. Yes, we can make that number work with down payment assistance programs, but now that the industry has changed, some of those programs are disappearing right now, right? Absolutely. Lisa says, will we have access to the replay? Yes, if you have to step away, I know we are very productive professionals. You will have access to the replay. You will also get an email of the podcast sponsorship template and the connect for getting the sponsorships. Okay, so yes, you'll have that. You can slow it down. You'll be able to go through it at your own pace. Okay. Lisa says, great. I'm taking crazy notes. Okay, great. That's awesome. And I'd like to talk with the numbers and put all this in context for you, because you may say to me, why would I even want to jump into podcasting? This is the reason why, is because of the numbers. The people who are likely to do business with you, right, can do business. Can they pay me? Do I like them? And can I help them? Right? That's what we ask ourselves about our clients. Or if you're not, you should be asking, right? You should be asking, do I like you? Can I help you? Can you pay me? And this is why we say, okay, you know what? If I know statistically that the people who are listening to podcasting, these are the people. This is my audience. This is where I want to go. Listen, I want to tap into the pool right here. So we're looking at 75,000 to 250,000 or more, right? Because it says plus. At minimum, you're working with people that earn $75,000 at minimum. So I like what's happening right here in terms of these numbers. So I've been sticking with it. And you know what? I've been connecting with individuals all over the country that have either signed up for a product or service, they've referred me business, they've heard about me. And that was what was mind blowing. Is someone said, I found you at an event. Someone mentioned you and said you had a podcast. What? Could you imagine someone is talking about your podcast when you're not even in the room? Hello. Isn't that what when we talk, I have a class talk about brand versus brand less. And that's exactly what we talk about. That is exactly what we talk about. What are people saying about you when they're out here podcasting? Let's get into some numbers in terms of as you talk about your programming, right? What is happening with your programming? So listen, 49% of podcasts podcast listening is done at home. 49%. I would imagine that number went through the roof because 22% happens driving, 11% at work, right? While at work, 4% while riding public transportation. If you're in one of those states where public transportation seems to be the norm, 4% while working out. That's me sometimes, right? Getting my workout. 3% while walking around. 7% are listening in other situations. But 80% of the listeners listen to an entire podcast episode or most of the episode. 80%. That is a starking high number of people tuning in to the entire message, if not all the message, but most of the message. Could you imagine? We barely can hold people's attention for 11 seconds right now. I think they're saying we're competing with the goldfish in terms of attention. But podcasting, you have people who are actively at home right now. This is where you need to be. We know people are at home. They're not too much driving. Most people are not at work right now. So they're at home. They have time to tune in and listen and connect with you. Your voice, your insight. I'm going to keep saying that here. That's our theme. It's your voice, your insights. And let me talk about programming, because we're familiar with television, TV programming. I talk about being mindful what you put. What's your physical diet, but what is your mental diet? So podcasting is programming. What are you programming? Are you offering a positive programming, an empowering programming, an encouraging programming, something to offer financial freedom, time, money management freedom? Are you offering something of value? And that's how people stick around. I've been watching recently, as this has been happening, my podcast numbers has gone up, and I too have increased the amount of content I've been publishing on the podcast. Okay. And really, I'm a one take Jane type of gal, one take Lisa. I record it, upload it, publish it, is done. I'm not doing any fancy edits. I don't use fancy equipment. I just said, this is what I use. Okay. Lo and behold, let me show you what I use. This is real truth. Here we go. Ready for my fancy equipment? My phone, headphones. This helps with sound quality and feedback and maybe extra stuff. Plug this in, boom, record, publish your episode, or add background music, turn on your sponsorship. It's done. All right. It's not that difficult. That's why I think most people get in the ways, because I've heard people say, well, I don't know if I have the budget for the equipment. Listen, stop playing. So here's why sponsorship is very important. And I really want to hone in on this. Okay. As we talk about podcasting, because you now are a channel. Let's get that. Let's acknowledge that. And when I first really let that settle in, I was like, whoa, I'm a channel. You are a distribution channel, not just for your own products and services, but other people's products and services. So of podcast listeners, 69% of them agree that podcast ads made them aware of new products or services. That's why this is a billion-dollar industry, because 69%, and they are projecting that to increase as more and more people become hip to tuning into podcasts. They get to listen and connect to their favorite talent. How many football players now have podcasts? How many musical artists have podcasts? How many actors have podcasts? Celebrities are now shifting to share their own voice and be able to connect with their audience in a different way. And they're doing that. Why? Is because there's money in the advertising. There's money there if they say, hey, you should check out X, Y, and Z. 69% of people of those listeners are now more inclined, more aware of that new brand. So you are a channel. Remember that. You're a channel. Okay. Now listen, look at this. The growth of the podcast ad revenue. I said there was a billion-dollar industry. Look at this ad revenue. We're here 2019 that just passed 514 million in ad revenue. 2020 projected 659 million in ad revenue. That, when I say billion, that's them buying. That's the overall industry, the giants buying podcasts. This is the ad spend. Who wants a chunk of the ad spend? It's 659 million. And I don't think that number is being cut. That number is going to increase. Why? Is because everybody is now confined, right? Looking for something to do, looking for new ways to connect. That's all we've been talking about. More ways to connect, more ways to get your brand out, more ways for you to be an authority to your tribe, your community, and all while monetizing it. This is where this number helps us, because as creators or content creators, or even if you take what I am showing you and you teach a group and you turn them on, listen, we're planting seeds. The more of us empowering our community and our tribe, we all win. We all win, right? So $659 million in ad spend. By the end of this, I'm going to connect you with the one that gives you up to $25,000 in sponsorship dollars. You get to set how much. They base that, yes, on your target audience, your quality, how often you're producing. So if you're pumping out shows every day and you're just being that voice where people can count on. See, I air weekly, but I also do other things throughout the week. And recently I've done 16 classes. We did the entrepreneur series, 16 classes. Yes, I'm uploading my content on the podcast. Why? Because if I upload my classes on the podcast, I'm still getting paid from the downloads, those who are listening. So if, yes, you missed the entrepreneur series, you want the video, yeah, you can purchase the video. But if you're okay with listening and you're going to make sense of what I'm saying without the presentation slides, cool. But I'm still benefiting. It's still a win-win-win. Sponsors, you hear the sponsorship message, you get the message, and I'm getting the sponsorship dollars from it. Why? Because content is king, right? Content is king is what everybody's saying. So I'm excited about those sponsorship dollars. We're putting this all in context. So I imagine you're ready to get started. Let's definitely get going. So make sure you download Anchor.fm on your phone. I think that's going to be the easiest way. Today, I'm going to show you on the desktop. For some of you who you can record right from your computer, which is really awesome. You can record from your computer, hit the sound effects, and then hit publish, and you're good to go. So here we go. I'm going to switch my screens for a sec here. Let's jump into the next screen. So I'm going to log out, but I'm at Anchor.fm, and I just want to show you. This is my teaching my teaching template, because this is in the past I've used my actual podcast and then I published it, and now people are listening to my tests. Yes, you can delete it, by the way. You may ask me, oh my gosh, can I delete the episodes? Yes, you can delete the episodes, but I no longer use my actual account as a test. But I want to show you, this is what it looks like from the desktop. So here we go, Anchor.fm. I'm on the desktop. If you download it on your phone, you're going to do the same thing. It's really easy. In 1 or 2 steps, it's going to ask you to log in. You can use your email. So these are the questions I've had in class. Past class have asked me, do I log in? So notice here it says Facebook, Google, or Twitter. Past attendees have asked, so should I log in using my Google account? If you want to use that email associated with your Google account. If you're like me and you have multiple email accounts and maybe there's a specific email account that you want to use that, okay? Some people might say, should I just use my Facebook account? If you remember your Facebook password, oftentimes people forget that. I get it. Or your Twitter account, same thing. If you know the email and you know the password, some of us have set up these accounts long time ago, and we may not even use the same emails anymore. So I recommend use the email that you're going to check, because it's going to send you a confirmation code. It's going to send you a code to confirm it was you. Did you create this account? Yes, click the link and activate your account. So this is my test account, my test email. So log in. Once you go to sign up, and then you log in. You sign up and you sign up with that account. Once we log in, we're at the dashboard. This is where all the magic happens. All the magic is happening here. So I've already set up a cover. I'm actually going to show you how to do this. Okay, you can use their app, or please write this down. You can create a cover in Canva. If you are not using Canva yet for your marketing, you're welcome. If you're not using Canva, that's canva.com. Let me do that again. If you're not using Canva, not Canvas, if you're not using Canva for your marketing, you are welcome, because you can do anything. All kinds of announcements. You can create your YouTube thumbnails. You can create your podcast thumbnails. This is called a thumbnail, right? A cover. And you can create a thumbnail for each episode if you want to make it really fancy. I don't, but I did do it for the entrepreneur series because it was different from my real estate content. I use the same thumbnails or covers that I used for the class I used on the podcast. I just uploaded them. So it's real easy to do that, okay? So here in the dashboard, notice that there is this pen. this pencil in the right-hand corner. When I click that, it gives me the option for settings. Here, I get to change my podcast name. So as you're going through this, you may just be going through setup and you're thinking about your name. What wonderful name you're going to come up with your show. I have Ready Set Real Estate, which is my main account that I'm not using for this class because, again, I when I use that as a dummy account or a dummy test, that stuff gets out there. And I notice people quickly, because it publishes immediately and your listeners get notified. Hey, Lisa published a new episode. Check it out. They get notified, they listen, and it's me teaching a class. No, that's not going to work. So I don't do that anymore. So for this example, I call this podcast Clairvoyant Entrepreneur, which is also one of my other brands. And then I put my podcast description. Here's what I want to say. Let's talk about tips and tricks about podcast name and podcast description. Why? Because again, you want to be able to be Googleable. Please put your full name in your podcast description. Put your brand name. Again, this is example purposes. I use this for example purposes, but what I'm sharing with you works. It absolutely works to help you be found. Guess what? I can wear the shirt Ready Set Real Estate and I have at LA Super Agent on the back. People keyword at LA Super Agent, my podcast comes up. They type in Lisa Puerto, podcast comes up, YouTube comes up, Facebook comes up, right? Linktree comes up. Everything I've attached my name, my brand to comes up. This podcasting, I must say, it is one of the easiest ways to hack Google algorithms. Google is crawling for fresh information. So some of you may have a static website, right? You may have a website and you have your website for presence. Shout out to Lisa Santiago McNeil, who is doing the e-commerce, and you found a new way to make a website work for you. I made that switch last year. I said, I'm done with sites. We need sites to be e-commerce, offer products and services, not just be this landing page to say how wonderful we are. That was back in the day, right? Where it was just, wow, look at this. You can put a big picture of yourself and talk about how wonderful you are. And then it's not being updated, right? It's not being updated. And with that being said, if it's not being updated, you're not going to be found because Google does not like old or stale information. So if you're pumping out daily content where you're just saying, you know what, here's an update. Want to talk to you about a new class I have coming up. Guess what? For those of you who are in here, are educators. Hey, hi, just wanted to let you know about our new class coming up. Make sure you sign up. The link is in the caption or below, or check us out at linktree. Whatever the Linktree. If you use long links, if you're constantly, I'm going to give you a tip. You might want to look into Linktree if your domain does not allow, or you're not as savvy or has a team to constantly add new web pages for your new class. You might want to just use one Linktree so your links are there. Your webinar, your products, your services, your subscription, whatever you've got, books, whatever you're selling, make it easy for people to get you. Lisa said, Lord, yes, it's a lifesaver. Linktree. Absolutely, it is a lifesaver. I don't even give that. I don't even give the LASuperagent.com email anymore or Ready Set Real Estate. I don't. I give Linktree. And then why? Is because I want to expose people that I have books. I have classes. I am a professional, right? I actually teach you, we have a class on that, and I know I'm going to do that. There's so much that we can learn, right? We're not going to do it all in one day. So podcast descriptions, please make sure you're clear, concise, and you're using your brand in your description, because that's the first thing that pops up. Podcast name, you have up to 100 characters in this space. So you get to be creative with that. If you don't like it, you can change it. But again, as you're getting set up, just be mindful. You don't want to change it in the middle of it now being active on the World Wide Web, because once you publish your first trailer, I love that it gives you a trailer. You can record a trailer. We know what trailers are, right? This is a taste. Give them a taste of what's to come. Give them a taste. Say, hey, I've just joined the podcast world. I can't wait for you to hear my podcast. Make sure you subscribe. We'll talk about CTAs. So let's get into here. It talks about category. So I have this for the clairvoyant entrepreneur self-improvement. When I click the drop-down bar, I have anything from arts, books, design, fashion, beauty, business, career, entrepreneurship, investing, marketing, nonprofit, comedy. You get the point, right? You have tons of categories for you to select. Make sure you select the appropriate category. You have, and even with spirituality, religion, spirituality gives you those subcategories from Buddhism to Judaism, religion, etc., tech news, politics, commentary, and entertainment news. All right. So here's your profile URL. The URL is equivalent to a website name. For those of you who are unfamiliar with URLs, our domain, your website name, or like a domain name. So your URL is what you set it to be. Anchor.fm / what will it be? For me, it's clairvoyant entrepreneur. A little long for people to spell, so think about that as well when you come up with these names. It's a little bit long if you want people to find this, but sometimes what helps is your consistency in podcasting, that once you type that in, Ready, Set, Real Estate, LA Super Agent, whatever your brand is, you type that in, it comes up. So people don't really have to go through Anchor.fm. Or guess what? If you have them on your text list, you have them on your email list, you have them on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, you can just share the link. And that's why in your podcast message on your shows, you say, hey, make sure you hit the subscribe. That way you're alerted when we send new episodes. Got it. It also gives you an option for an external website. This is all setting up the profile. So you get to set up your custom URL. And by the way, aside from signing up for the class to learn this message, this is all free. Free 99 to set up your own podcast. I know some of you have heard of some other podcast platforms that want to charge you a tiered plan for the data in which you upload. I've uploaded tons of data on Anchor. I started when Anchor just opened in 2018, is how long I've been podcasting, and I've been consistent, and it's really exciting to watch those numbers grow. And the beautiful thing is, and I'll show you shortly, is that it gives you a distribution. Where are people listening? Most of my listeners are listening on iPhones. It gives you the breakdown. How many on Android? How many on a PC? How many, and I would imagine the other categories is in a car, but I think that's awesome. Then it asks you for your name. Please put your name in here, right? For me, put my brand name, Lisa Puerto Super Agent, and then your email. This is the email. So if you ever need to go back and change what you originally set up, click that pencil, and this is the edit feature. Notice that I can even change my profile color. That's what I love about this. You can change a lot. You can customize a lot of this. And here's the important part. Please connect your profiles, because those become clickable links. Connections, connect, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. It has it right here, Instagram.com/what is it. So consistently for me, I'm LA Super Agent on all of them. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and I think I said YouTube, and Pinterest. Even though I don't use Pinterest, I still went and locked in my handle. So I recommend that. I've had that question asked in my branding classes. If I don't use those platforms, should I go lock in my handle? Absolutely. Lock in your handle. The last thing you want to do is blow up Miss Multimillionaire, Billionaire, Mr. Billionaire. Last thing you want to do is have to go spend $25,000 to go buy your own name from somebody else. That's the last thing you want to do. Is like, oh, why did I do that? I'm saying it now. Go lock in your handles, even if you don't use it. Okay. So I'm not active on Pinterest. I've got a pinterest.com/LA super agent though. Okay. So wonderful. Here's what's really cool. Listen, for those of you who want to almost run this like a radio, we love shout outs, right? Hey, what if you said, hey, if you shout out, would you like to be shout out? You want to give a Lisa, I'm going to use you as an example because I love your tribe and you the empowerment duo. So if you have people that, and you do an awesome thing with the cards. So if you want to have people pay for the shout outs, right? Run the cards. This is that here, right here. They can send voice messages. And you can say, hey, for $5 or $10, we'll specifically do your reading, right? We'll do your reading. And you can feature that on a show. They can ask their question. They can chime in. I love it. She says songs. We sing theme songs for guests. That's amazing. So you can absolutely take those shout outs on the Anchor. So have them do that. Tons of things. Listen, you can have so much more fun than what I'm doing with it. You can ask people to, hey, we take questions. Make sure you send us out. And they literally can send the voice messages and you can choose to feature that message. That's what this message here. It says include voice messages, link in show notes. So that's really a cool feature. I'm sure that gives you some ideas, right? So especially if you say questions from our audience, right? Questions from our listeners. Please send us your questions. They send you a question. You play them. Don't we love to hear ourselves sometimes? Oh my God, I was on the radio. Could you imagine someone say, oh my gosh, Kevin had me on his podcast. I asked a question about the NACA program, a specific one. And that gives you a great idea to say, hey, this question came in from one of our listeners. You play that message, you feature that. It gives you that, it builds that rapport, right? It builds that relationship. Who's that there? Maven says, she says, that is awesome. Good. I want to give you these ideas. That's the difference when, you go set it up and you think about, well, okay, how else can I use these tools? Just like that. Shout outs. Very easy. If you then decide for whatever reason, but I don't recommend, if you whatever reason you decide you want out, well, you can delete your entire account right here. Okay. Or you want to start a new one. But not going to happen once you invested time. But it does give you the option to delete your account and you could delete it from here. It also, depending, we're all professional here, but some of us may want to do a spin-off of a podcast where it might be an explicit type of content. So here's what it'll ask you. Content, is it clean or explicit? Especially right now because there is this new requirements on whether we now need to announce whether our content is kid-friendly. Yes or no, right? We have to comply with this now as content creators because our babies are out there, especially my little guy. He's 9 years old. He just had a birthday. He's so funny. He said, Mom, he said, gosh, it's so nice to know you. I never met a YouTuber before. Imagine that. So I'm mindful when I do put content out there, even when I'm showing up in the world, I'm mindful that my children, my son is listening. And so for those of you who want to do that grown folk stuff, make sure you please be clear and select that your content is explicit. All right. Okay. So Lisa said explicit, some nights. Well, guess what? You can do that per episode. You can click whether it's explicit or not. So you don't have to do it on the entire show. But if you do have nights, you can specifically select on that episode if this is an explicit episode. So that is great. What I do as well, Lisa, and for those of you who are listening I do an introductory message. So like I did the entrepreneur series and I said, hey, as a way to connect, to kind of stay focused, please, I'm offering the entrepreneur series. I don't know word for word what I said, but I said it. So in terms of explicit, I remember I also had a show where my guest had the feedback was bad. I said, listen, hey, we had so and so on the show. She had tons of information to share, but because of where she was recording, there was a lot of feedback. Feel free to continue to listen. If not, you can skip today's episode and stay tuned for the next, right? So give that disclaimer. Again, remember we said we're not here to be perfect, look perfect. But we want to let people know we're working on it. We're showing up here for you. And guess what? It makes you more real. It makes you more authentic. They say, you know what? I appreciate that, right? Especially if you know the sound is crackly or there's a lot happening. Give that disclaimer and say, hey, you know what? We really want to keep the content and share the message. But if it's too much for you, go ahead and skip this next episode. Stay tuned for the next one. Let people know. Let people know. Lisa says, yes, disclaimer. That is great. Exactly. Imperfect action. I know that's your tagline. That's your saying. All right, cool. And then here, the update cover art. So it gives you the option to create it, but I recommend create it in Canva and then upload here. Okay. So notice I can upload, or I hit this button and says upload cover art. I'm so tongue-tied today. Excuse me. So I can search for a photo, which is from their stock images. I can upload an image, which is one that I create, or it says choose one for me. For some of you who say, and a lot of you stop saying this, I'm not that creative. Yes, you are. You are co-creators. Absolutely, you are creative. So tap into that, okay? Don't say, I'm not that. So give it a shot, all right? Give it a shot. So you can search for a photo. It'll open up here. And it'll load. And it gives you stock images that you can use. I don't recommend the stock images because it may not actually resonate with the message you're wanting to convey. As you can see, it gives you some of these abstract images that, or you can keyword a phrase and search one, but it may not resonate with what you want to convey. And like I said, this is a test account. My actual podcast, I'm going to log into that. Once we get through this, I want to show you my actual cover. It does have my headshot. It was one created by my designer. I'm happy to refer you if you need that, something a little bit more specific. If not, you can have tons of fun on Canva and make something just as powerful and profound. Okay. So if I hit upload an image, it's going to open up, because remember, I'm doing this from my computer, which I recommend just the initial setup so you can get the details and everything kind of ironed out. Because you can, you can do it on your phone, but you know, the phone does have limitations in terms of, so it opens up in my folder. I can go grab an image, hit open, and it'll upload. So this is the initial setup, episode podcast descriptions, and getting everything set up. So I'm going to go to our dashboard, back to the dashboard. And I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to show you how to do a new episode. We're actually going to record a new episode while I'm doing this, because I want you to see how this actually works. All right. I trust you guys are taking fantastic notes right now, because there is so much that you can do on the computer. Even if for some of you, if you've already had a podcast on another platform, you can download that and drag and drop those files right in here. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Let's get this going here. I'm going to switch screens right now, and I'm going to go to new episode. I actually want to do new episodes. I'm going to click new, because that's the more exciting part. Let's jump right into it. Please write the tab is open, but you can't see it up top here, where you actually make animated graphics of your sound bites. Please write this down. Okay, so Lisa says, I have trouble with that. The RSS is stuck in the other site. Guess what? All you need to do, if you know how to get the RSS, you can actually plug that in right here in Anchor. I'm going to get to it. So I'm glad you mentioned that. And I'm glad I mentioned about if you do have your podcast somewhere else. Some of your websites as well, you can embed the RSS feed. So all Anchor gives it to you. You copy and paste it. So if it's from somewhere else, you can suck that in and put it in here. All right. So it might be a little bit technical. But Lisa, you and I, let's get together. Okay. Yeah, let's get together. She says, I can't find it. Okay. You and I, let's get together on that. Because that's going to be a little bit more technical that's more of on an advance that I want to help you with that. Okay. Look, I love colors because colors tells me things are easier. Color coded. I know where things, I can find things. So I'm in the create your episode. This red button right here, we would imagine associated with red record. It says capture audio right from your browser. Record messages. Remember we said those shout outs? It says add listener voice messages to your episode. So if you had someone say a testimony, called in and say, you know what, gosh, that last episode really touched me. I mean, I learned from you. I made the adjustments and I had these results. Ask people to do that because now you can turn those voice messages, you can add them to your episode. Woo-hoo! It just became real, right? Real life testimonials, voice testimonials. That's awesome. And then your library. The beautiful thing is anything you record, even your drafts. So the minute you get in here, you touch and you start to mess around with it, it saves it in your library. So I've noticed that even like I'll open it and then I start getting busy, I forget it. And then I close this out. When I come back in, it has a draft of what I was working on. It's like, hey, you started a podcast, you never finished. So you can go back and reopen it, or you can go ahead and start a new one. And then the transitions. Listen, my favorite part of this whole thing, because I don't like getting dinged with copyright claims. How many of us are using content, right? We go online, we want to put a nice background music if we're on YouTube or Facebook, and the next thing we know, we get an email from them saying someone's issued a copyright claim over our background music. Either we have to mute it or delete it or dispute it. Oh, no. Guess what? This gives you free music and sound effects. Yay! That for me is huge because I don't want copyright claims on my podcast that I'm monetizing, right? We don't want any issues with that. So free music and sound effects. You can also invest with someone who's an artist. So I actually support my local artists. I actually promote their music. That gives you an idea. Again, your distribution channel, you're a media platform. This is a great idea for that. Okay, so here we go in here. Here's what I want to show you about this section right here, because it says click to upload or drop audio here. So if you are using Facebook and you created a show on Facebook, this is why I'm One Take Lisa, right? Not One Take Jane. I'm One Take Lisa. When I do my show on Facebook, I download the video. I use an audio converter. Shout out to Trinity, Maven Muse on here, who gave me that audio converter. And what it does is it extracts the sound, the audio from my video into an MP3 file. Your MP3 files are your sound files, your audio files. Your MP4 files are your video files. So this used to take MP4 files, believe it or not. All I had to do, gosh, that was amazing. I don't know, Lisa, if you've been using Anchor that long, or once upon a time, you could download your video from Facebook, YouTube, and they were doing YouTube links. All you had to do was plug a YouTube link in here, and they converted the audio. They extracted the audio from that. Geez, that was amazing. Woo, that was a game changer. She says, yes, me too. Yes. So that was a game changer. Now, they do want, and I can imagine it's because they are storing this data. I mean, from millions of people who are using podcasts. So I imagine they said, okay, no more video files. We just need you to upload the audio files and go ahead and publish your episodes. Okay, wonderful. So Lisa says, my videos have audio files already downloaded. Great. Same with me. She says, I'll share when we talk. Yes, same with me. Depending on what platforms you are, you have option to download MP3 or MP4. Again, depending what streaming platform you use. If you do Facebook, I don't think Facebook does the MP3 files. They do the video. I use a different platform to download. So with that being said, I can click or upload my audio, or I can click here and I can hit record. So here I hit click record. It opens this up. And it's going to, I don't have my mic plugged in, but please make sure your mic is plugged in and you turn on the mic. So it's going to ask you which mic do you want to access, right? It's going to say, where do you want the sound to come from? And so it says input here. So notice I've got multiple inputs happening. I need to select the right one. So for you, it might be internal. If it's an internal microphone where your headphones connected, use that. Default, this is stereo, which is some of you couldn't hear me because that's not where my sound's coming from. My sound is actually coming from my webcam. My sound is coming from my webcam. So when I hit start recording now, it says, I love it. It says, we can hear you, right? It says start recording now. When I hit that start record button, it records. Once I record that, let's do quick recording. Hi there, welcome to this episode of Clairvoyant Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Lisa Puerto. Make sure you subscribe to our episode. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast. That way you don't miss any new episodes. I hit stop recording and it's going to process that. So here's the thing. Notice I hiccuped, I messed up, not happy with it, re-record it. You do it over until you're happy with it. Don't get stuck there. All right. Don't say, oh, I kept messing up. Here's another thing. Go ahead and listen to how other people are doing their announcements. Type it out. Write a script for yourself. Because by the way, that's how the sponsors are paying you. They give you the script. They want you to read it in your own voice. So notice it's already done. I can hit play. Do quick recording. Hi there, welcome to this episode of Clairvoyant Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Lisa Puerto. Make sure you subscribe to our episode. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast. That way you don't miss any new episodes. Right, there you go. Kevin says, can we do live podcasts? This system is set up for repurposing podcasts. So not on Anchor. You can definitely do your live podcast if you are using a streaming platform. So absolutely yes. And then you can download that and put it here. This one in particular is not set up for a live broadcast. Great question. But I do my lives and then I repurpose them here. So you can do your live podcast on other distribution platforms. What I want to also add is notice that it gives you add background music. Music always makes a difference. So you can add background music here. So when I hit this button to add background, gives me a list. So pick which one resonates with you, right? I'm going to do the nightlight one. I'm going to select this one. It then adds it. What it does is it creates a new file. And here's an example of this next one right here, where the sound comes up. And the great thing is when the sound is happening over your podcast, it fades gently and you can still hear your voice. So I love that it does it changes the equalizer, right? I imagine that's the equalizer that is adjusting for the sound of your voice That way the music is not overpowering your message. And that's important. So once you select that, you can add it. Let me see, where's this? Where was it? It's gonna be stuck on it. Oh, let me remove this. Remove the episode. Do quick recording. Hi there, welcome to this episode of Clairvoyant Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Lisa Porto. Make sure you. I think that sound got frozen for me on my computer. So now I have background music. Hold on. See if I can get it out. If you want to add, so let's say you like this, you want to add your episode, just hit the plus button. This is where you're creating your episode. Now this is where we want to talk about the sponsorship part. Add a sponsored segment. So we definitely want to record the sponsored segment, and that's in the money section here. All right. So because I've already recorded, I'm going to show you where to find. So I can hit save, or I'll come back to this. Let's go to money. So I'm clicking the money section. That's where we set up our accounts. For those of you who have your PayPal, a business account, however you want to set up and receive funds, this is where you set that up. It will ask you for information if you want that money to go direct deposit. And yes, it's real money. I've cashed out my account before. And I really did that because I wanted to test it. I was like, okay, I see the money building up. Can I really use this money? Can I really spend it? I don't know if Lisa, if you've had that moment. I mean, I wanted to know, is it real money? So I definitely have cashed out my accounts before just to test it out. So when you go under the money tab, you have two sections for and your listener support. Now you can actually subscribe. You can actually offer subscription via the listener support. Now, with that being said, with the listener, do know that Anchor is going to take a cut. I personally do. She said the first $3. Good. Yeah, I was like, oh, $. Okay, let's see where that takes us. So yes, I've cashed it out, and now I didn't forget it because I know the money's real. I know it's there. I create content. It's literally a forced savings account where that money has been building up. Like I think it's awesome to know that where we sometimes feel like, I'm just doing this and yes. One, you're providing value, and two, you're getting paid for that. And there are two ways you can do that. This is spooling right now. There are two ways you can do that. You can do it on listener support. You can do it with tips. Now, here's the cool thing. Anchor allows you to do sponsorships through the platform. There's nothing stopping you from collaborating with people outside and you creating your own sponsorship package. I have one. I have a template that I'm going to share with you, and you can pitch that to your small businesses. You can pitch that to your vendors, your products. Okay. Lisa says, I used to use a Patreon, right? Or you can use Patreon. So you can set up your own type of subscription or listener support where we say, hey, a lot of people right now say Cash App or PayPal, right? So paypal.me/LA Super Agent, show your support. Cash App LA Super Agent, show your support, supports our channel, supports our efforts. I attach mine to social good. So a portion of the proceeds are donated to the nonprofit. So a portion of the proceeds are donated to the nonprofit, right? So she says exactly, she says she's Self-support, sponsorship, exactly. Cash App or regular monthly sponsor, absolutely. And I noticed you have a regular monthly sponsor. I noticed that too. So there's nothing stopping you from reaching out to your local vendors, your big companies, your big dollars. They're looking for you. They're looking for what you can do and show and prove. Here's the beautiful thing. I actually have a student that got $6,000 to sponsor her podcast before she even did it. They said how many episodes, how often, and it was from a law firm. She wrote a book. She wrote a book about hair in the law, and that was a big thing during the natural hair movement, right? We saw that resurgence. She wrote a book about that. She wrote about how that impacts corporate law, and she got her show sponsored from a law firm. Paid $6,000, which she then realized it wasn't enough. So there's that aspect as well too, right? Lisa says, yes, she pays good real estate. Awesome. Exactly. I know she does. So good. And that just goes to show you it works because I noticed it, right? I'm seeing your content. I see who your sponsors, you list your sponsors. That's what they're paying for. They're paying for the eyes, the audience, that people hear them. And guess what? I think it sounds better that someone else is tooting her horn, right? As a real estate professional, as a go-to, rather than her saying how amazing and wonderful she is. She gets someone else to say it and do that as a shout out on a show segment. That's awesome. She said she's a household name now. Absolutely. People sing her song. There it is. There it is. So that's perfect. So there's a lot of ways to get really creative with this. So notice here, and I'm glad that you can see the way it looks. So I haven't activated it. And again, this is my test account. It says activate Anchor's payments. It says finish setting up your account so you can see how much you're earning and cash out. Cash out. Okay. Notice that there's an Anchor sponsor. This is their sponsorship for you. And they're like, hey, use this as a test. We'll pay you. It says $15. The cumulative. Then this is over plays. This is over plays, right? And they tell you this, and they give you this all breakdown. I recommend reading the monetization terms of service and checking out, play with this. So where you get used to it. So I can activate my Anchor payments. I click that button. It's going to open a window for me to set up my account, my name, how I want to pay it, etc. That's it. That's all I need to do. Once you have that, it starts to build in your Anchor wallet. Now, when it says click to record, I can go here. And voila, it gives me the details. So if you need a practice of how this needs to be, shmoney, Lisa, if you need practice on how this needs to be, here it is. It says this ad must be 30 seconds long. The goal of this ad is your sponsors typically will give you the script. They will tell you how they want it read, right? So they're giving you the details. Here's the script of the ad. And you've heard, some of you, if you're subscribed to my podcast, you've heard this, right? This is what the ad says. It says, these are the required points to express in your ad. Feel free to paraphrase and speak from your own experience, which I do. I said, you know how I care. In my own tone, in my own excitement, I'm sharing about Anchor. And I read it like this. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free, right? And then you go through the script. Once you're done recording, it says upload the ad. It also gives you tips. Keep in mind this ad may appear in multiple episodes. Be yourself and have fun. Again, we want it authentic. Why? They're paying you lots of money. You get the right sponsor, as Lisa's saying over here. And as I myself know, I do well with book authors as well. authors who want to promote real estate content books. I've had an author book, he booked 15 episodes, 15 slots. I have a package, and I build a package that not only is it paying me and it's paying the episode, but it's paying to run ads on Facebook. So not only am I expanding his brand, I'm expanding our brand together. So we're running the Facebook ads, and now YouTube, and I do a class on YouTube as well, where you can do the same thing as well. You can run those ads. You can run those ads on Instagram. So build in your sponsorship packages that you can cover your show segments, right? Paying for the ads on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. Build that for yourself. And you make that, you say, hey, we're giving you this reach. This is your reach. And you can screen capture and show them, this is what your reach is. This is what you're paying for. This is what you're going to get. And the value is immense, because here's what the real kicker is. Here's what the real kicker is. You have someone is paying for that segment, but this is where I sell them. As long as our podcast is running and people are finding out, they are getting lifetime exposure, not just that one time, not that one episode. But I am watching people watch my content from 2017. So he is still getting, because he was a sponsor then. Has he read another book? No. But is that book still available for sale? Yes. Can people still buy it? Yes. He's still getting that promotion. As I'm building the brand, people are going back and listening to all the old episodes. All right. So good stuff here. Okay. That's 1, 2, 3 steps on getting the podcast up and running. Lisa says, I can't wait to expand with your tips. I'm so happy. You're going to love this then, because let me get you the headliner. Oh, you're going to love headliner. Headliner is a great platform for you to take your sound bites. This is also what you can build in your sponsorship package. You can take the sound bite of your episode and make it into an animated video. They do this for free $99. Listen, look at this. Full episode, video transcript, podcast audio videos. You ever watch my animated podcast sound bites and you say, how do I get a sound bite? How do I get an audio on Instagram? Headliner. How do I get an audio on, how do I get a visual? Let me say it that way. How do I get a visual audio of my podcast on Facebook? Headliner. How do I get a visual audio of my podcast on YouTube? Headliner. Right here. All right. Sign up. It's free. All you have to do is type in your show name. It'll pop up and it'll populate. It'll actually do it automatically. And every new episode, it'll email it to you. Say, here's the copy of the new episode. It will email it to you for free. I love this. So you can do a full episode. You can do the video transcript. And guess what? It gives you templates, how to make it look nice and fancy. I love this. Gosh, I'm telling you, I love this. Especially because we're looking for ways to get more reach and promotion. You may think, gosh, how do I get that out there? Just like this. I can upload a file, drag or drop, or it says find a podcast. Type it in. Lisa, you mentioned RSS link. There it is again. So I can type in Ready, Set, Real Estate right here. Hit search. Boom. There I am. It's loading my episodes. Boom. All my episodes. My latest episode was April 16th, right? So I can select any one of these. I'm going to set this one. And hit next. Look, choose a ratio, choose aspect ratio. So it says landscape. It says it's best for YouTube and websites. Square, best for Twitter or Instagram and Facebook. Portrait, best for Instagram stories, Snapchat, and TikTok. So you go here, right? So I want to do if I want to do Instagram, I like the Instagram one. So I hit Instagram, I hit next. So I can use the default. That's my show cover that I mentioned. I can come in here. The waveform, I can change the waveform. I can make all these, I can change the color of the waveform and say I want to do red. And then I want to do it this way. Or what I really like to do is this one. And then I can drag and drop. I can bring the sound bite right here. I can move it down. Is this helpful? Is anyone excited about doing podcasting and graphics? Like I literally have, this is no level of technical expertise required. I typed my podcast, it pulled it up. I picked an episode, I pick a color, I picked the background, and then literally it says 1, 2, 3, right? It says pick which one. I'm good to go. Once I'm good to go, close that out. And then I hit export. If I want to add text, I can do that. I can hit export. Once I hit export, it says hang tight. It's sending it to my email. Once it sends to my email, I download it. I throw it where I throw it on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. That's it. So for that very curious question, how do I get my podcast on my social media? Headliner. All right, that's a bonus. Okay, let's get to the final one. Lisa says, sheesh. She says, I'm going to go and watch the replay. This is awesome. I'm glad you feel it's awesome. I'm glad. I couldn't wait. Like I said, I'm here for you, showing tons of gems. It's really easy. Like, it literally found the episode that I recorded. Did I have to upload it? No. It found the episode. I picked it, threw the cover, and it's doing it. It's going to email me, and that's it. And when you get in there, have fun. I put one where my graphic was bouncing around. It was doing all cool things. There's so much you can do. Have fun with it. Okay. When you have fun, people have fun with you. All right. The next one, podcorn.com. She said, he's bugging me. I'll set up a session. Okay. Podcorn.com is where our money is. Okay. Very easy. And I want to show you this first. If my file is in here, let's see, I've got a file for you guys. Let's go to it. File, I got a file for you. Let's see. So podcorn.com. Set up your account. Connecting unique voices to unique brands. Connect unique voices to unique brands. That's you. Okay. So when we log in here, it's going to be a little bit more technical on Podcorn, only because Anchor doesn't feed automatically to Podcorn. And that's because I know Anchor is controlled by the bigger giant, which is Spotify. Spotify selling ads and using your show to make money. So you better make sure you're using your show to make money for yourself. Spotify is doing it. Anchor already got paid their millions of dollars. Spotify bought them. So listen, all right. So podcorn.com. I'm going to write that down here. That way you have it in the chat so you know what they say out loud simple different things. But podcorn.com. And what you're going to get is the sponsorship template for this, for Podcorn. I want to sign up as for podcasters. okay? Sign up for podcasters. This is podcasters or for brands. The brands are the corporate people or the big people, products and services. You might even, if you want to do it the other way around, you want to pay other people, but I think we're on the side, we want to get paid. So you'd be the for podcasters, okay? So you sign up as for podcasters. When you get into the account, that's when your world changes because they literally have hundreds of brands that are looking at places. How I stumbled across this, I said divinely. Divinely. I don't remember what I'm doing, but I came across this. For me, game changer. Why? Because it also gave me the template. So you can go to them, or if you say, hey, I don't really have those relationships, but we do. We all know somebody who owns a business, a product or service, has a book they want to shout out, has something they want to offer to professionals. We all know somebody who wants to offer something of value. You can reach out to them. So when you sign up, it says view sponsorships. I love this. I love it because you can have the ability to go in here. And my file and show you. In here. It's going to be manual and it's really easy. You have to email the support. If you need my help, that's fine, but it does walk you through on how to do this, okay? It does walk you through on how to do this using your Anchor platform. I've been able to do it. And you literally can do this. So notice when you log in, for me, and this is why it's more of a manual effort for us who are using Anchor, it says analytics not connected. So what you need to do is screenshot your show analytics. That means how many plays you get for the month. That's what they want to see. So let's go to view sponsorships. Lisa, you're going to love this right here because it also gives you a base. Kevin, you're going to love this. Trinity, listen, y'all going to love this. It gives you a base for packaging your sponsorship deals, okay? Sponsorship opportunities, 94. If you have a team, do you think you can assign somebody to just go in here and look and send your proposal? Yes. I need a team member. I might need to just do a VA for this because I know so many of you have been getting on my case about this. I know Trinity has, but you may want to hire a virtual assistant, have to give them access, show them how to set this up, and go in here. So Carrot School Project, Trailer Kids EDU Kit, that's what they have. What are they looking for? Guest interview sponsorship, creative integration. It says you have 66 slots available into May 31st is the deadline. Mid-roll, right? Listen, come on now. Let's go to view details. Says we've provided, and it tells you who they are, what they're looking for. Tells you who they are, what they're looking for. More importantly, I want to go and show you. Let's go to send proposal. If you have, this gives you an idea. You may see people here and you say, you know what? I know somebody who has kids products and may not necessarily want to go and pitch to them, but you can pitch to the person you know. So here, again, campaign budget under $1,000. So this is under $1,000. They have for their campaign, they're willing to spend less than $1,000 for their sponsorship to be promoted on your channel. Listen, anybody excited about that? Somebody telling me how much they're willing to pay me? Yo, yes. Yes. And they tell you when, please publish it by May 31st. Come on now. They're telling you, I'm willing to go in there. 94 sponsorship opportunities are in here saying yes. Okay. So you have native sponsorships, guest interview. It says host a Q&A, tells you list your fee and select the date. Creative integration, list your fee, select the date. I would say get your foot in the door. It also says here's for mid-roll, right? They give you what they want, and it's very easy to plug them into your show. Select your fee, select the date, and then hit next. You send your proposal. You tell them who you are, who your audience is, why you're excited to connect with them, what opportunities you're looking for, what value add are you offering? What are you offering? Right? How do you want to work with them? So you can say, I'm doing something promotional, right? Hey, our campaigns are normally running for this amount. This is our fee typically, but we're really wanting to connect, especially with people who are at home and they're doing homeschooling. We're wanting to connect with people at this time. Just gave you an idea. All right. So podcorn.com, this is the platform where you can access your sponsors. Let's go back to that, our dashboard. And we're concluding right on time, actually. So for those of you going to get this email, you're going to get the sponsorship template. You got Headliner for those graphics. You got Podcore now is where the money is. And you don't have to now go look for it. You don't have to work with a branding agency. If you have time, do a proposal, one a day. Take the time, go through one a day, right? And remember, I said you have time because Lisa, I know how to do this. I like to work with individual sponsors outside, but if you don't have access to the individual sponsors, or you want to go in here and see what type of sponsors are offering sponsorships, this is a great way to do that. This is a great way to do that. And it says available in April, sponsorship 7, host read 7. So let's go back to our view sponsorships. You can also let people know your show schedule, right? What is my show schedule? And let me talk about this because I've been saying show schedule. Podcasting is not meant to overwhelm your life and not make you feel like I don't have time for this. Time block like everything else. My show schedule consistently was Wednesday at 11 a.m. I was doing that live. I'm no longer doing live. I'm repurposing them on my timing because my business is picked up. Opportunities have opened up. There's a lot more that I have on my plate, but I wanted to remain consistent to Wednesday broadcasts. So I'm not pegged to the 11 a.m., 2 p.m. Eastern time show schedule, but I am still committed to the Wednesday show schedule. What I've been doing as a bonus, I've been offering entrepreneur classes as to be replayed on my podcast. So think about your show schedule. Are you going to time block and say, I'm going to do my show every time at 9, and you could stream that as a podcast on your social media platforms. Download that and repurpose it on your podcast here. Then it gets to Spotify. It usually populates within 1 to 3 hours. And guess what? When it populates, using Anchor, which is why I'm saying instead of going to Spotify, instead of going to trying to apply to iHeartRadio, I'm using Anchor because my show's available on 13 platforms just by publishing it on Anchor. One platform gets me to over a dozen platforms. So I'm heard everywhere. And again, that helps with brand recognition because when you type Ready, Set, Real Estate, I've seen my show on platforms I've never heard of that is being replayed on. Am I still getting credit for it? Absolutely. I'm still getting paid for that. That CPM, right? Those dollars are still, those coins are still adding up to dollars, which is what I like. And then you get to tell your sponsors, hey, we're on over a dozen platforms worldwide. Okay. So Hero Cosmetics, again, these are different examples. And again, they will tell you what the slots are, what they're looking for, how much they are paying, You definitely have time to go through this. Okay. All right. Listen, we had tons of fun, lots of information, step by step. If you really need help to just dig deep to book a session. All right. No problem. I'm here. I'll make time for you and walk you through it. I want to thank you for your time. It's been tons of fun. Listen, again, you have Anchor.fm, you have Headliner and Podcorn. This is right out of my toolbox, what I've been using, and now it's yours to use. Just take the time. You know, everything's going to have a learning curve because it is new. It may feel a little overwhelming, but if you get stuck, do reach out and let me know, okay? I have been doing the podcast classes on every quarter, and I noticed if you did not attend the first class when I did on podcasting last year, you didn't get access to Headliner, you didn't get access to Podcorn, and you didn't get access to the sponsorship template. We were just doing basics. So I build as I grow, I become I share my toolbox so that you guys can use that as well. Again, thank you. Have a powerful and productive day. Listen, I had a great time. I trust you had a great time as well. Do you have any last minute questions that I can answer as we wrap up? I'm here for you. I'll give you a few minutes to type any. If not, if you had a great time from a scale 1 to 10, let me know how this presentation was. 1 needing some improvements, 10 being awesome, and you would share and let other people know they need to sign up. It's funny, I was talking to a friend this morning. He does podcasting with 5 other people who have no concept of it. He said, they need to be in your class. So if you know anyone that could also benefit from this information, please let them know to sign up for the How to Podcast, because it is available up on my link tree as well. All right. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's really been lots of fun today. And I am glad I was able to finally share this, because when I discovered Headliner and Anchor, I was through the moon. I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a game changer. It's going to be a game changer. So it has been a game changer for me. Okay. With that being said, let's conclude here. Thank you again, you guys. Take care. Any questions? If not, I'm going to give you a few minutes. I know I talk faster than I speak. Kevin says, thank you, Lisa. This is a 10 presentation. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm glad we finally able to connect, and definitely going to join your NACA presentation and want to learn more about what's happening there as the industry is shifting as well. All right, you guys, take care.